But let's start with this one because Q, a certain analyst, Dan Orlovsky, has been very complimentary of Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, but he's also been very vocal on who he thinks the MVP is, right? He thinks Josh Allen's going to win it. But when Dan was asked who could dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC, he said his gut told him that there's really only one team, and it could be the one in Baltimore. So let's play that clip, Q, and we'll react on the other side.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Most confident. They've
Scale
got
of 1 to 10.
a 9.9.
Wow.
If I had to pick one team that I truly in my gut thought would go to Kansas City and beat Kansas City, it is Baltimore this year. As much as I believe in the Buffalo Bills, and I do think it's a 3-team race. Number one, it's the best season Lamar's ever had. There's no debate about that. It's historically impressive what he's done. I think the second thing is he finally has a true running mate, both behind him and next to him, that makes this offense dynamically impossible to stop. Zay Flowers, first Pro Bowl receiver that the Ravens have ever drafted, and I know he's unlikely to play this weekend. Derrick Henry, Lamar and Derrick Henry combined have almost 3,000 yards rushing. They've got 2 Defensive Player of the Year candidates on defense, a top 5 offensive line. They got the second best run game in football. This is the most complete football team, the most balanced football team that Lamar's had. They got a defense ever since Kyle went back to safeties, the number 1 defense in the NFL. I've never been more confident in Lamar's ability, but also Lamar's mindset to go get it done.
Well, right there, so Q, confidence level at a 9.99 out of 10. What say you as the Ravens start their quest to win their 3rd Super Bowl in franchise history?
Well, I'm hoping that Dan didn't put the Dan Orlovsky run out of bounds jinx on us. And it is just a simple analyst observation, because for those of us who've covered this team this entire year, not saying that he hasn't, not saying that, clearly he did one of the games, the very last game against the Browns, but be that as it may, I think that, the Ravens, in fact, are built to go to KC, get their toes in bounds and play a phenomenal game. I think that defensively is where I was a little concerned, but they've righted the ship since November. Zach Orr has this team just playing at their absolute best. The guy that scares me with all the talented skill guys that are over on the other side of the football is Brandon Stevens, but he'll have an opportunity to kind of sharpen his tool and put the lockdown seatbelt on whatever receiver he's facing, in particular George Pickens this weekend. But I think that's something that, the Ravens, they get after the quarterback. They play some really good sound defense. Now they got our Darius Washington playing deep and doing well. But then you look at the flip side of it from a Lamar Jackson aspect of things. There's going to be those really cool matchups that I think that he can exploit with his guys. It will hurt that you don't have Zay Flowers back there because of his dynamic play. But I think there are other guys that are going to just have to fill in that role. And it's I'm anxious to see it, but then I'm going to go ahead and be cliched like John Harbaugh and be like, hey, all I know is you got one game this week and you got to be 1-0, and that's it.